Hello keto friends and family and non-keto friends and family that are here checking in with me. I'm Tammy Hinckley and I'm the Keto Cricket, and if you like my content, please smash that like button. Let me know the types of videos that you guys like, and if you are interested in seeing more of me, then definitely click that subscribe button. So this video is the summary end of Vlogust. At the beginning of August, I set out to achieve two goals. The first goal was I was trying to see if I had it. I was thinking of doing more of a Primal diet instead of keto. Again, not adding the really starchy vegetables, so I still wasn't going to do sweet potatoes, but I was looking at incorporating possibly more fruit. And so I will update that goal, and then we'll get into the second goal I had. Basically, I did incorporate more fruit, and I probably incorporated more nuts as well, if we're going to be honest here. At least on a daily basis, I should say. But honestly, carb-wise, I didn't really increase that much as far as that went. I did try to keep my plates fairly, I guess, kind of like I'll bookmark that video, but I kept my plates pretty well like that. So, 30% protein, 10% fat, or excuse me, 30% fat. No, it was 10% fat, wasn't it? And then it was 60% veggie. Yeah, so 10% fat, 30% protein, and 60% veggie. But the thing is that even though the plate itself is 10% fat, fat is much more caloric. So 10% of your plate in fat, whether that's butter or cheese or maybe the MCT oil or heavy cream in my coffee, that type of stuff, that is going to, if you're counting macros and calories, it's going to be more than that, right? But anyway, my point is that I did test every day for the month of March, and I did keep track of this on a spreadsheet. My average ketone level was 0.8. So sometimes it's up to 1.2. In fact, today it was 1.2. And then sometimes it dipped as low as 0.4 or 0.3. That was actually only a couple of times, and it was only if it dipped that low, though usually I only test once, but if it dipped that low when I tested, I would test later, and it was always higher within an hour. So keep in mind that this is why we don't chase ketones, and I didn't even buy a ketone meter until May, I think, and I bought it for the, or might have been June. I bought it around the time we did the no artificial sweetener June challenge with Keto Meets Menopause. Mainly just out of curiosity, because I wasn't feeling great, which is why I was trying to increase those carbs. And so if you've been watching my journey this month, you know that it turns out it was not food anymore. Basically, my doctor told me that I had lost a lot of weight, which I knew that, right? I didn't need my doctor to tell me that part. But I also had began entering into menopause, which I kind of thought I was perimenopausal. But I am not. I don't know. My body doesn't ever do anything in small pieces. I feel like things just kind of happen pretty quickly with me and with my body, and the thyroid just couldn't keep up with all that. When you lose a lot of weight, it changes the amount of hormone levels that you actually need, because you have less blood flowing around, and so your body has to readjust everything and figure out electrolyte levels, hormone levels, all that kind of thing to keep you going and keep you the way you need to be. And so that sometimes does put a little bit extra strain on the thyroid and some other glands that are in charge of that. And it's possible that it's fine, it works out. My issue was that I also entered into this perimenopause phase, which is another huge piece of life that causes a lot of hormone disruption and a lot of changes within the body. And so then my thyroid was basically trying to keep up with two major changes at the same time, and it couldn't. So it sent up the white flag and was like, I give up, I can't keep up. And that is when, and so basically that started in about late March. First part of April is when I started to notice some changes, which just happened to also be about the time I had started exercising. No, I don't think the exercise caused that, because when I started exercising, I was literally only exercising for like 10 to 15 minutes for 3 to 4 days a week. So I'm pretty well versed on knowing how to build up and scale up when it comes to fitness. I did a lot of that kind of stuff in high school, so no, I don't believe it was the exercise that did it at all. It just happened to coincide. So because I didn't really want to exercise until I had dropped all that weight. So that first goal of, maybe possibly going more paleo, turns out I didn't need to do it. So I did implement some more fruits and berries, and I do know that I can handle more fruits than I could have a year ago. And so if you are just beginning your keto journey, this is not advisement of you should go out and add more fruits and vegetables to your diet, because maybe you can't. Check out my other videos on uniqueness, because I'm a firm believer in that, and that includes your uniqueness and how you change through your weight loss journey and in your period of lifetime. So depending on kind of where you're at in your life may depend on the amount of carbs and protein and fat and stuff that you should have as well. So for me, I can handle more at this point and juncture in my life without any detriment in my ketones. And then the other part of that was the second goal that I had shared that I was really starting to struggle a lot with my food addiction, which I do believe was in part of the thyroid issue, because with your thyroid going down, your metabolism slows way down. And part, the whole menopause issue with the hormones fluctuating, huge fluctuations. I do think that was probably part of the issues that I was having. But, I am working on a food addiction issue. And one of the things I said I didn't want to do anymore was say I'm a food addict and just talk about it all the time. And I was pretty successful in that. I feel like I did a really good job, because I do believe that although it's important for us to be honest with ourselves about what we are capable of and what our struggles are and the things that we personally are challenged with, and each of us is a little different what those may be. Yes, be honest with it, accept it, but also you don't want to just give in to that, right? You don't want to just focus on and say, if I literally just say 4, 5, 10, 20 times a day I'm a food addict, then guess what? That's in my head, and our words are powerful. So not repeating that all the time, and praying and really focusing on, I did a few really more food gear devotions this month, Made to Crave by Lisa Turkhurst. I'm doing another one as well. I don't remember the name of it, but they're in the Bible app. But really focusing on eating more intuitively as well. So not only stop saying I'm a food addict all the time, but also really starting to get back to basics. And I do think that tracking is important, especially at the beginning, or actually not the very beginning, the very, very beginning of your keto diet. That's something different, and we can do another series about that. But kind of usually about 6 to 8 weeks into your keto journey, I do think tracking is a good thing to do for anywhere from 30 days to 6 months, depending on you and how much you have to lose and that sort of thing. Just because I think it really opens your eyes to how many carbs are truly in products. It forces us to really look at food labels really well and then pull up the information on like USDA and some other places that are valid, right? And it also teaches us serving sizes and what those look like. So, but I've been doing keto for over a year, so I really feel like I had plenty of knowledge, and it was something in the back of my head when I would eat lunch. I wasn't like, oh, okay, if I'm gonna have a bowl of yogurt with berries, then I'm not also gonna have, you know, a marinara sauce. You know, I'm not gonna have pizza with that because I know that my pizza is gonna have a lot of carbs. So it was still a balancing act in the back of my mind. But just eating very intuitively, listening to what my body was craving, and pulling back from that constant tracking every single day. It had gotten so it was just obsessive. You know, I was counting every calorie, every morsel that came in my mouth. And stress has a huge impact on your food choices as well as your body's ability to burn that. If you're super stressed about your food and you get to the end of your food and you're like, oh, this was the last of my calories today, darn it, you can build up some stress with that, and that can actually cause you to gain weight and gain fat specifically because your cortisol levels can go up. So that was the other part of that goal, was really trying to work on my food addiction. That I'm doing really good. I'm super happy with the results of that. I actually dropped 5.2 pounds this month. So I'm currently not at my lowest weight simply because, and I'm like 2 weeks late, or a week late, I guess. But my lady time should have been last week. I didn't have the lady time specifically, but I am having all of the patterns. So this past week I was really craving nuts and chocolate, so that increased magnesium that I really wanted. And actually it wasn't just chocolate sometimes it was just sweet, which again has to do more with that certain time of the month. And then yesterday I had a lot of back pain. Nothing has actually come of it because again, I think I'm pretty close to done, if not done with that portion of my life, but my body still is going to go through those cycles because I literally woke up on Thursday or Friday. I woke up Friday morning 3 pounds heavier than I was on Thursday, and I wasn't knocked out of ketosis. I had checked my ketone levels, and I didn't eat anything crazy that would have knocked me out of ketosis. So it wasn't that, which sometimes we can gain 3 to 10 pounds if we get knocked out of ketosis, depending on who you are. But that is something as a girl I know happens to me when I'm close to that period of time. So I think my body, even though it's kind of stopping a portion of that, it's still going through that cycle. You know, the hunger, the cravings, and then like yesterday I actually wasn't hungry at all, which is pretty typical for me the day before I start. Normally I would not be hungry. I'd be kind of nauseous and yucky feeling, and I wasn't nauseous too much yesterday, but I wasn't hungry, and I didn't really eat that much. So, but that is the other great thing about dealing with the food addiction thing and intuitive eating. Just, there was a lot of great things that helped me stop having binge moments and then fasting, which is what we talked about. I didn't want to binge and fast. And I did overeat one time in August, but it wasn't astronomical, that's for sure. It was enough to kick me out of ketosis for about I think it ended up being about 9.5 hours that I was out of ketosis. Not terrible, but enough to make me gain 4 pounds, I think. So that was kind of in the beginning of the month. But I reached new lows, and that was great. The other cool thing about intuitive eating for me this month is just that I no longer feel the need to really overeat ever, like to have those binging moments, whether it's while I'm eating a meal or later. I told you guys I deliver pizza, and so one of the things I like to do when I would go to work a couple nights a week is they have this grilled chicken breast that they put on the pizza that is so delicious. It's really good. And so I would snack on that. And my reasoning was always like, well, I'm burning lots of extra calories while I'm at work, so it's fine. I burn these off, and it was almost like a planned cheat, even though, I mean, there's no carbs. There's some carbs in mushrooms, but it wasn't enough. It's not enough to do anything. I didn't get kicked out of ketosis or anything ever. But the last 2.5 weeks, because I work 3 days a week, I didn't snack at all. The second week in August, I did a little bit. I had a very, very small amount. I think I had like one piece of chicken and maybe like 3 or 4 mushrooms. But the desire was completely gone. Like, I went to work and I was like, I'm full, I'm not hungry. But in my head, I was like, I could eat that if I wanted to. And I'm not eating gobs, just so you know. I'm not like stealing from the company I work for. I'm not eating like pounds of it or anything. But it's just interesting that I just started noticing that the craving was gone. Because it would be, I'd get there and I just want it, right? And when you tell yourself, hey, I can eat whenever I want. If I'm hungry, then I'll eat. It's not, I noticed that there was actually food that I wouldn't eat right away. I would eat some of it and I'd get full and I'd be like, instead of just eating it all, because I'm like, hey, I counted these calories, I counted these carbs, so I'm going to eat them. I was like, you know what, it's fine. I can come back to this later. Or not. It wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't as traumatic, and I've even said that in some of my recipe videos, especially of, hey, if I track those carbs, dang it, I want every last scoop. I don't want to share it. It's all mine because I counted it. So getting out of that mindset has really helped. Plus it freed up some time. I spent a lot of time, preparing what I was going to eat the next day. Not preparing like actually cooking it, but preparing the plan, right? So I'd get on my FitnessPal or Chronometer and sit there and analyze and tweak and try to get my macros just right and be under a certain calorie amount and all that stuff. And it didn't, it became obsessive, basically. That's just the way it was. So I am not planning on going back to tracking at this point. Will I ever? I don't know. One thing I do like was the tracking for just historical benefits, especially if you're trying to like find an allergy, or you really want to track your electrolytes and how much potassium and stuff you're getting in. That can be super helpful. So, I may go back to doing that at some point, but at this moment, I am loving not tracking. It's working really well for me. I feel much freer. I don't feel as obsessed with food. I'm not thinking about it constantly. I'm like, if I'm hungry, I'll eat. If I'm not hungry, then I won't eat. And for those of you that have never had a food issue, you have no idea what that is like. Like, that's so powerful. And I know people say that to you all the time. They're like, oh, if you're hungry, you eat. It's pretty basic. But if you've ever had an issue with food, it's not basic, because you have broken yourself a little bit, and it takes a long time to learn to listen to your body. So, and it's something I'm still working on. I'm not saying I'm cured by any stretch of the imagination, but I am very happy with where I'm at today. And I'm also really happy that I finally lost weight again. So, and I know it's not just taking the thyroid medication, because I've only been on that for what, 2 weeks now. Yeah, I've been on that for 20 days. I started it on August 10th. So, and by August 10th, I had dropped 4 pounds. So before I even started taking it. So just that quickly, again, the cortisol levels and stress levels are huge impact on your weight. And for me, it wasn't just that, it was the whole the yo-yoing. I also think I finally broke a set point. I seem to have about a set point of weight about every 5 pounds now. So seems like I can kind of hover or go back to the same weight, you know, for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I finally do a new one. My graph is like choo 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 choo, which is normal, and your graph is probably similar to that. So let's see, my average ketone level was 0.85 to be exact. My average glucose measure was 82 for the month of August, and the total weight lost was 5.2 pounds. As of today, though, let's see, at the beginning of the month I was 159.6. Today I was 157 even. So, you know, but I'm going to say I lost 5 pounds this month, because I think that that's where I'm going to end up. But anyway, that's just kind of the final summary of August. And I hope that this helps somebody else out there that is trying to break food addiction, or trying to, you know, basically biohack their body to get more energy, to not just to lose weight, but to feel the best you can feel. So I hope you guys have a fantastic September. Let me know in the comments what kind of content you want to see on the channel, because again, this space is for you guys. It's 100% free. It doesn't cost you anything, and I do it because I care, and I really want everybody to be able to live their best life. Bye, guys.